Hi everybody, welcome to another segment with David and myself, and we're going to show you today a variety of things. And as you can see, I got a shirt. There's a march going on in Windsor, Ontario. It's going to be at the Dieppe Park in Windsor, Canada, August 25th, 2013. Not 2012, 2013, so we guys, get it with it. And it's going to be at 2 o'clock. Now they're looking for people to help make signs. Again, Mike Berry is going to be the fellow that's going to be running this. So again, see this here? This is a neat shirt, don't you think? Can you zoom in there?
Yep.
Okay. And none of you get caught up with my pectoral muscles and anything. Just look at the shirt.
Can't help it. Can't help it. It's part of the package.
Part of the package. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the backside. Not my backside. The backside of the shirt. Good. Yep. All right. Now take a look at that. Okay. This is done by Canadian Ingenuity. People say that people in Windsor are not awake. See, are they mistaken?
It's going to get a... Alright.
Alright. So, August 25th, 2 o'clock. Let me give you some other information on this. I want to start you off. I'm going to get you guys all activists. You're going to be activists, you're going to be alchemists, and you're going to help heal the planet. What do you say? Alright. There is a website called Global March Against Chemtrails and Geoengineering.com. It's a mouthful. Anybody's interested, please send me an email at independs@yahoo.com. And
I'll have a thing at the bottom.
Okay, cool.
Showing the web page as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And look up Canadian Ontario Windsor. Okay. There's going to be things going on across Ontario: Barrie, Cambridge, Hamilton, London, Toronto, Ottawa, Quebec, Montreal, and as far as Ontario goes. It's time we reclaim back our airspace and our planet. What do you say? All right, this nanoparticles, I'm going to get into this real quick. I may as well do it now. I'm going to show you the cupcake theory. Well, cupcake concept. Okay, which is related to the chemtrail activity, the pollution in the skies, the nanoparticles, the polymers, the biofilm. Let's take a look at these cupcake holders, shall we? Now, this is going to be a Coles Notes version of what's going on. It's a lot more intricate, but for a lot of you who need simplicity and duplicity, this will be the easiest way to explain and exemplify what's going on a planetary scale. These are nanoparticles. They are polymers. Polymers do not break down in our body. They can be forced out, excreted out, or they oxidize out. Within each layer of these polymers are biofilm. Sort of like a vaccination, an aerosol type vaccination. So for those of you who are anti-vaccines, you're still getting them, but you're getting them through the air. So chemtrails fly in the sky, and all of a sudden you see an X, and you see these things spread, and they're ripply and heated, look like marshmallows being cooked inside out. So this falls down, and now it's a nanoparticle. In other words, it's 1/1,000,000th or 1/1,000,000,000th of an inch. That small. So this gets down inside you. Now, it has a program parameter. Smart meters are hitting this. Heart meters are hitting this. Everybody's thinking that Fukushima, we got problems with Fukushima. Fukushima is killing the planet. Fukushima is not the problem for the planet's radiation. The problem for the planet's radiation is these HAARP signals that are penetrating the ionosphere, releasing the radiation from the outside. They're blaming Fukushima for this. It has nothing to do with Fukushima. The radioactive reactors in the Soviet bloc have been leaking radiation for 45 years, 50 years, 60 years, and we're still here. The radiation overload is because they're harping the skies and they're chemtrailing the skies, causing irreparable damage to the ionosphere, and that's where the radiation is leaking, not from Fukushima. That is nonsense. Anyway, that's the distraction. Fukushima. Okay, and they're also talking about a solar flare going to hit about mid-September. I have a funny feeling that the solar activity is going to be the cover-up of a HAARP attack. That's just my theory on that one, but that's just because I'm jaded. I'm an old guy, and I've been around the block and seen so much distraction and confusion with things that this is how things work. But anyway, back to the nanoparticles. So they come down, and this is your skin. So now they get in the skin, and all of a sudden, they start to take over, and they start to connect, and they start to form bonds with each other. Now, what happens is, these bonds are polymerized components. These are polymers, and don't forget, they have a payload. Now, that's what it looks like. So you get a red, looks like a red rash or a bite or an itch, and you itch it. Oh, and you itch, okay? So now, your body's immune system immediately tries to attack some of these things what it doesn't recognize. So the biofilm now, the polymers are now being attacked, and they start to oxidize. And what happens with polymers, because they're a mixture of chemicals, once they start the oxidation process, it changes the biochemistry. So now, it starts to form a new chemical reaction, okay? And so, as a result, you got something entirely different. But at the same time, it's releasing a payload of biofilm in your body. In nature, bacteria and viruses do not coexist. They are antagonistic to each other. Viruses attack bacteria, bacteria develop an immune response, and then they return and attack the viruses. So this now is being released. So whether it be fungal, bacterial, parasitical, they are embedded in these polymer components. So these nanoparticles now change again. And some of you may see shapes like a triangle. Okay? You see triangular shapes occur with a circle in the middle. Some of you may see squares forming in your body. Okay?
What do you mean forming in your body?
Like forming on the skin.
Gotcha.
You'll see
the patterns.
The patterns, okay?
You'll literally see this on your skin.
You'll literally see it. Some of you will see numbers. Some of you will see letters. Okay? This is from the eye in the sky. Those chemtrails. And somebody's saying, well, how come it doesn't affect everybody? Everybody is infected. You are eating nanoparticles. They have put nanoparticles in your food. Okay? And they're in there. And a lot of you say, well, I'm eating organic. I'm an organically eating food. I will tell you this about you guys with the organic nonsense. This apple is organic. Not because I didn't spray it. I can spray it and it's still organic. I can pee on it, it's still organic. The only difference is I polluted it. I can have it genetically engineered and it's still organic because it's carbon-based. But let's say, for argument's sake, because some of you would say, well, the USDA's got a sticker on there. You start looking at the history of the USDA, and since 1907, the USDA has been undermining the health of North Americans in Canada and the United States. They are not on your side. Anyway, let's say, for argument's sake, this is a chemically free food. Has no bioengineering in it. Nothing. Zip, nada, nada. What happens is, now I'm going to genetically engineer this clean food with other materials. Nanoparticles. Aborted baby fetuses with natural or artificial flavoring, or soy. I have now altered this food from its original intent to something that's been genetically engineered. That genetic engineering destroys your insides. That's what's going on. Okay? But there's been a play on words and vernacular in the organic baloney, and people selling, oh, it's organic, means nothing. Hasn't meant anything for 30 years, to be quite honest with you. And some of you are going to have this, your illusions are going to pop on this. And you better start realizing that the whole food supply has been poisoned. There was a guy that came on the radio, or the YouTube. I call him a goof, because he is a goof. Okay, he's a goof. He's saying, McDonald's has got these things going on inside of them. I have news for you. It's not just the fast food industry. Okay? So those who you pure say, well, I'm not going to eat there. Oh, they got this. The whole food supply has been contaminated with these polymers, which is coming from where? The chemtrails. Okay? Which is also being introduced into the food production through genetic engineering. So don't get hung up on these things. And you need to start understanding this is inside of everybody. The difference is, so for those of you who have had the outward signs already, have had the manifestations, because I've had this, a couple emails sent to me on this, part of the infection, or the affliction I should say, it's not an infection, the affliction, is it affects you mentally. and it affects you so that you want to commit suicide because nobody around you believes you. A lot of people are rejecting you. They think you're crazy. You're the canary in the coal mine. You're the one that your immune system is still functioning properly or functioning enough to draw these things out of you. That's what's going on. So you're the normal one. The other dumb bastards who are not listening to you, they're the ones caught up in the matrix. They're still following that, chasing that mortgage and playing this and doing that and going to the movie and going to McDonald's and being entertained. You have been afflicted. You've been awakened. You have been woke up to the reality that life on this planet is being poisoned and you have been afflicted. You're the warning to the rest. So don't lose heart. There are solutions. All right. So that's I want to touch on this because this reflects to this. Sorry about that, Dave.
Yeah, I try and keep up as much as I can.
I know. Put the dots so good. So this is with this and this. If you really care about the planet, you care about each other, seriously, you need to get going on this. Okay, you really need to get going and be there. Or if you can't be there, at least make people aware that this geoengineering, these chemtrails, these 43 chemicals coming down on us, 3 of them are radioactive. You need to make people aware of that. You need to make people aware that what goes up must come down, and don't think because it's in the field and they're not spraying stuff, you're still getting it from this stuff. It's polymers. How many of you have had gardens and you look at the bottom of whatever you're growing and you see this big blackish crap with this white filmy material on there? How many of you have seen that? That might be the manganese, the aluminum, the barium, the silica, the thorium, titanium, silver. Okay, because they're using nano silver and nano gold up there, and it's not. Don't use nano anything because this will implicate or aggravate or agitate the what's coming down. That's what's on your plants. That's what's on your plants, and you have to strip that off. You have to strip it off with either vinegar or you have to cut it off. Okay. And you need to, like I said, seriously look at what's going on in the food supply. Okay, if you're a vegan, I feel sorry for you. I truly feel sorry for you. Because you vegans have been misled on some political statement. The animals out there today are basically filtering out a lot of this. You're still getting it, but you're filtering out a lot of it. You vegans who are not eating anything other than vegetables and beans and phytates, which strip your body of a lot more nutrients, are more wide open. And when this stuff takes hold of you, the cellulose and the level of cellulose that's in your body that you're consuming is raw material for the polymers. Letting you know this. And you may say, oh, you're crazy, you're just anti-vegan. No, I'm not anti-vegan. I'm pro-common sense is what I am. Okay, so again, pointing this out to you. Okay, pointing this out to you. And again, you do whatever you want with the information. Seriously, that is up to you. But you owe it to yourself to investigate at the least what I'm telling you. Because if I'm, in my mind, in my statement, I know what I'm telling you is true. But for you, you don't know. You're clouded and you're going to be jaded and you're going to hear all kinds of stuff. And for you, you need to investigate so you know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you're not following some baloney guru. Some sort of super duper pooper trooper nothing. Taking your money and you have nothing left over. Okay? And feeding you, oh, you need to eat soy, and you need to eat, peas, and you need to eat lentils, which strip your body of all kinds of nutrients and anti-nutrients and shut down your thyroid and cause all kinds of stuff with your endocrine system, which is what they're trying to disrupt anyway. And then they tell you, oh, go get the fish oil. Fish oil, oh, omega-3, you need it. Oxidized oil. Put it into you. Come on, get it into you. Let's break you down faster. Some of the nonsense in this industry today. All right. The meetings, they usually have the meetings at the coffee, what's it called? Coffee something. Coffee club. It's downtown usually, but I guess it's going to be after 2 o'clock. The event's at 2 o'clock, so again, the movie will be shown. The meetings are usually Sunday, but this Sunday there's the event at 2. Sometime later, the movie will be shown. Please feel free to give my email address, my cell number to the person there. At some point tomorrow, Burnett and I will meet for sign making. I will forward details of time and place later. You can reach Bernadette at 519-956-9894. If you're interested in helping them out making signs, please feel free to do so. Let me see here. Just trying to get this going out there. Bernadette Gerard Green has a Facebook. Maybe Dave can do this somehow later. I don't know how we're going to do this.
To just add all the information?
Yeah.
All right.
Global March Windsor Geoengineering stops chemtrails. WindsorKijiji.ca. Please join in order to learn about the weather modifications. So there you go. I've been berating about that. And this is what's really happening. This polymerization. You know, it's not just an agrobacterium. Someone sent me this on the agrobacterium. I was already researching that 4 or 5 years ago. And it's more than just that. It's a delivery system, and then it's a program sequence that's going on. Excuse me, why do you think the smart meters were introduced into your homes? Like I said, how many of you are not sleeping between 2 and 4 a.m.? Smart meter activity has at its climax at that point in time. Why is that so? Because it agitates your sleep pattern, it disrupts your capacity to regenerate, and it activates these things inside of you to start taking over.
I actually met a guy from an organization in Ontario, WEEP it was, and he was basically doing his own investigating of smart meters and you know, I guess for lack of a better term, resistance against smart meters. And he was actually on, I think it was CBC or something, about his sensitivity to this, and they measured his body. I don't know if this is a random aside, but they measured his body, and they hooked up all these like sensors. Yeah. And then they didn't believe that he was sensitive to this stuff, so they basically put a towel over his face or whatever. Didn't tell him when it was getting turned on, and then they were basically recording off of the sensors on a computer when his body would react to whatever it was. And it was interesting that that's exactly what was happening. They turned on wireless smart meters, whatever, any sort of this electromagnetic fields, and like his body responded to it.
Because we're loaded with metals. Okay, we are no longer just flesh and blood anymore. We're being integrated into a circuitry. Okay, so when you're looking at that, that circuitry is allowing us to become transceivers. So when they're pulsing us with smart meters, or they're pulsing us with HARP, or you're sitting in front of your computer on a Wi-Fi, you're amping it up. I'll give you another example of that to further take it to another step. How many of you are in relationships with each other? How many of you have gotten into fights, arguments over nothing? Zero. Just some tiddly little and next thing you know, you're in some kind of rip-roaring, knock-down, drag-out, knuckle-punching, whatever going on. And you're really upset, and you're aggressively hostile, and you're saying things, and then the moment one of you backs away, it goes, because the crystals inside you, those amber crystals that are pumping inside you through the cupcake concept, is amplifying the signals inside of your body, making you, again, and you get close to people, and all of a sudden there's this going on, and you don't know why. That's why. Okay, because you're loaded with barium and aluminum and silica. Okay, you're loaded with manganese and chromium. Titanium dioxide, silver nanoparticles, gold nanoparticles. That's what's in these things. So this is what's causing this intensity when two people get together and have these hostile exchanges going on. Okay, and that's what happens. You know. So again, letting you know this so that when you are aware of this and you see that yourself getting into this emotional or this mental overload, back off. One of you back off. It's not a pride thing at this point. It doesn't matter. It's not about who's got the stronger will. Back off. And you'll find that all of a sudden that controlling factor that's on you will not work to disrupt your relationship any further. And at that point, you will be able to recognize in your mind, hey, what happened here? It may take you a day or two because the intensity of the emotions will be at such a high level or high climax. It may take a day to get down, but you will think about that day, because it'll leave a mark in you, and you say, what the heck was that? Why was I so, what caused all this, okay? So that's some of the things you've got to be aware of. You can't have this shit in you and not expect something to happen.
Let me ask one other question. I don't know if it's going to open up another can of worms and make it another 10-minute like segment, but so I mean, in simple terms, you've addressed a lot of the what, and you've addressed a lot of the how, but I don't know if you want to answer the why.
The why is not what you want to hear.
Yeah. So
it's an elimination process. Simple as that. The last 5 movies I've seen, and I'm not a movie buff by no stretch of the I'm not into TV or whatever, but when you get into this fact-finding and truth-finding things, a lot of things come your way. And when you start seeing a thread manifest in these things, then you begin to realize this is not just entertainment anymore. This is a message, and it's loud and clear. Now, I've seen Sixth Day, I've seen Oblivion, I have seen Man of Steel, Iron Man 3, there was another one, The Twins, on the Motorway, Uncut, and the one theme that stands out in all of them, is a specific genetic code, a specific genome that they're looking for, or they want, or they're trying to have outstanding. All the other genetics that are involved are eliminated one way or another. And in the induction of the genetic manipulation, in of itself is either change you or kill you. And this kind of infestation goes on if your immune system doesn't develop, you don't give it a chance or the time to get a handle on this, eventually it takes you over. No doubt. Now, there are ways to get it down, and there are ways to reduce it. There's a lot of ways to reduce it. The saline baths, I've been telling people about taking saline baths. You're using TSP, sodium thiosulfate, Epsom salt, baking soda, borax. You'd be surprised. Table salt. Put a little turpentine in the water by the cat pool. You'll be surprised how much will come out of your skin. Matter of fact, I will tell you something. When you do take these baths and you stand out in the water and you look in your tub, you will see the nanoparticles and the plaster and the polymers floating around, and you'll actually start seeing them circulate and circle and move, trying to form something in some pattern. That salt keeps them from doing anything. So again, but you'll see that, so that you can see that there's something programming going on there. Every time you reduce the load, you remove that much out of your body, which makes you less of a transceiver, less of a receiver, keeps your mental faculties intact, keeps your emotional balance going, keeps your physical body intact. Okay? You will still feel pains, you will still feel some issues going on, but this is one way to reduce this, okay? The thing we're going to show you after we get done talking is the apopectin kind of thing, which can help pull metals out of here, out of this area. For some of you, this is going to be a godsend, and for a lot of you, hopefully you'll see some benefit. But the end-all, be-all, in all honesty, if you can't see the theme of genetic cleansing, this is not a new concept. This happened in the Second World War. Okay, during that war, Jews, Polish people, Czechoslovakian people, Hungarian people, anybody that was considered genetically inferior was wiped out. And again, what was the ideal genetic example or the code? It was the blonde, blue-eyed, perfect genetic. So they were probably playing with genetics even back in that day, and they probably had a high advanced, they made it the high levels of advancements in that time. We don't know fully because the American government and the Russian government got in there and took all that information out. So you have to realize that this is not a new concept. This has been going on for a long time. So some of you are saying, well, aren't they going to kill themselves too? I hear this all the time. And you guys are not thinking like they think. They don't care. When you get a cult-like mentality, and I've been into 2 cults, so I can speak to this firsthand. When you get into cults, cults have a way of changing your mindset. All of a sudden, you are doing a service to a higher order, a higher concept. You are now going to render your life to God, the universe, whatever.
Pure vessel.
Pure vessel. Okay, and you're not thinking any longer. They are thinking. They are controlling your thought processes. So these people will go out in the name of whatever concept or goal or ambition that they are doing for the fatherland, for the motherland, for somebody's land, my land, your land, whatever. They will kill themselves for it. They don't care. And the hierarchy who's involved would probably have the antidote to this. No doubt. If they're even human. And that's another concept you better start considering. Are these things really human? Are they cloned? See, you need to really get out of the box on this. And nothing's that far-fetched anymore, not with genetics. It's a completely different parameter, and you need to get off that TV mentality. So, you ask me what I think. My perspective is this. It's not just about changing the environment, or maybe changing an environment for a new life form. It's a possibility, or a specific genetic. And those of you who are considered not as genetically acceptable, and again, it has nothing to do with race, has nothing to do with color, has nothing to do with creed. It has to do basically if you are of genetic soundness, as far as their definition of genetics, then you get to stay and play and be the slave of the future. The rest, that's up to you. All right, so I'm going to show you one way now.
We should probably make it another video entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
We're at 27 minutes.
Okay, we'll call it.
Yeah.
All right, on the next video, we're going to show you with apple, pectin, apple, citrus, and what's the other thing I was going to use? Onion. And how to maybe clean up some stuff in the lungs for those of you who have children. But anyway, we will, I don't know what we're going to call this, the March. We'll call it the March. The Ides of March.
So stay tuned, yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned. More's coming. Till the next segment from Dave and myself. To your health.